Hello everyone, we are back with our electrostatics lecture number 2. So first of all, let us discuss what we have read previously. So in the previous class we have read about what is a charge and what are its units and what is conservation of a charge. Conservation of charge, charge can be neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form to another form. Next, we have learned what is a quantization of a charge. Quantization of a charge which is available only in fixed amount. We cannot have 1.5 electron or 3.5 electron, and we just have fixed amounts, which is only 1 electron or 2 electron or 3 electron. For that we have got a formula, Q is equal to Ne. So our electron is only available in integral forms, which is where n is an integer. N is an integer. Now we have, and the next topic we have seen is the methods of charging. Charging by conduction, charging by induction, and charging by friction. Fine. And I request you to revise the previous class properly, then only you will be able to understand this class. And for the next class you need to revise the first class and even the second class, then only you will be able to understand it. It is like a chain, right? So if you don't understand anything, write it down in the comments. I'll see it, and if possible I'll make a small video on that and I will upload, or else I will reply to that comment. Clear? Now today our topic is Coulomb's law. Today our topic is Coulomb's law. Take out your notes and start writing, and whatever I speak you have to write each and every word of that, because all the sentences I may not be able to write it on the board because board is small and we don't have that much time also. So whatever I speak, pause the video and start noting it down. Okay, only important sentences I'm going to write it on the board. Fine. Okay, now let us see what is this Coulomb's law. Suppose you have a point charge Q1 and another point charge plus Q2. Point charge. Now what is this point charge? Means in a little space, suppose this room is there, there are 2 point charges, size of a point. So there are 2 point charges, and the center of this point charge and the center of this point charge Q2, if we join these both centers, the distance is r. The distance is r, right? This is what Coulomb has told, right? There are 2 point charges of charge plus Q1 and charge plus Q2 and separated by the distance r. So what he told is F is directly proportional to Q1 and Q2. So force. Now where did this force come from? Now previously in our previous class we know that positive repel, and and negative also repel, but positive attract. Fine, we know what is this, but with how much force they are repelling and with how much force they are attracting, we don't know. That is the point where Coulomb's law will be coming into application. So Coulomb's law means interaction of charges. Interaction between charges. This is what Coulomb's law is going to tell us about. So F is there. Now here force is directly proportional to Q1, Q2, product of this charge, so the value Q1 and the value Q2. And he has also told that F is inversely proportional to 1 by r square. Inversely proportional to distance square. R is the distance between the centers of these 2 charges. So this is also called inverse square law. This is also called inverse square law. Clear? Okay. Now, regarding this inverse square law, graphically how can you tell? Suppose let us take force on y-axis and R on x-axis. How will the graph be? The graph will be like this. So, if the distance is going on increasing, if the distance is increasing, the force will get reduced. You can see the graph. Distance is increasing, distance R. R is the distance. Distance is increasing and force is also getting reduced. Right? Okay. Fine. Note this till here. Once copy it down. Okay. In this only, let us see. Now, suppose if you bring this Q1, Q2 is stationary. If you bring this Q1 towards Q2, if you bring Q1 towards Q2, Q1 towards Q2, what will happen? Now, force on 2 due to 1. This 2-1, how we call it as is 2-1 means force on 2 by 1. So I am moving this 1. So this force on whom is it applying? On 2. So force on 2 by whom? By 1. Right? We are moving Q1. So this Q1 is applying force on Q2 by 1. So if I write 1, 2, what is the meaning? Force on 1 by 2. So if I move Q2, Q2 towards Q1, Q2 towards Q1, so what will it be? Force on 1, force on 1 by 2. We are moving Q2, so force is applied on Q1 by Q2. Right? This is the notation we are going to write. F21 and F21 is this. F12 is this. Right? Note it down. Clear? Understood? Okay. Now, what Coulomb has told is F12 is equal to F21, but the magnitude of F12 means force on 1 by 2 is equal to force on 2 by 1 equal, but this negative sign indicates opposite in direction. Opposite in direction. Negative sign they both are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. Clear? Okay, fine. Now, previously we know what Coulomb told. F is directly proportional to Q1, Q2, and F is also inversely proportional to 1 by R square. Now, to make it an equation, what do we do is F equal to, to remove the proportionality constant, we are going to use a constant K Q1, Q2 by R square. F equal to K Q1, Q2 by R square. Now, what is this K? K is a constant. K is a constant which depends on medium. K is a constant which depends on medium. Now, what is this K means? K is a constant which depends on medium. So for example, let us take K in vacuum or free space. The value given is 9 into 10 power 6. Now what are the units? How to find the units for K? So already you have learned in your 11th class in units and dimensions. So how do we do it? So K is equal to, by the formula, F into R square by Q1 Q2. Right? Now what is the unit for K? Unit for F, Newton. R is distance, so meter square. And for Q1, for charge, in our first lecture we have seen unit of charge, SI unit of charge is coulomb. So coulomb into coulomb, coulomb square. So the final unit is Newton meter square by coulomb square. Newton meter square by coulomb square. So just a second, this is not 10 power 6, this is 10 power 9. 9 into 10 power 9 Newton meter per coulomb square. Clear? Note this down. This is the unit for K. With this K is particularly dependent on medium. Clear? Okay. Pause it and note it down. Now we can also do it in, now Coulomb's law, this is the general form. Now we can also do it in vector form. How to do in vector form? Vector form. Right? Okay. Now Coulomb's law in vector form. Let us take again your charge Q1 and charge Q2 separated by distance. This time we are going to do in vector form. So we will take mod R. You know what is mod? Mod means magnitude. So R is in magnitude form. So this Q, if Q2 comes here, Q1 will, the force applied is in this direction. So F force on 1 by 2. This is the direction. So F12 in this direction, and for this Q2, if Q1 comes towards Q2, so force on 2 by 1. So this is also a vector. Now how to determine this mod R? Mod R means, for suppose let us take Q1 is going towards Q2. Q1 is going towards Q2. So what will it become? Initial minus final, Q1 is going towards Q2. So final minus initial. Final minus initial. This is for this direction. Clear? Okay. Now Q2 is coming towards Q1. Q2 is coming towards Q1. So final position is Q1. So R1 minus R2. Both are vectors in this direction. Clear? Now for suppose let us try to find force on 1 by 2 equal to K Q1 Q2 by mod R square. Clear? This is our regular formula from where we know what is K, Q1, Q2 and mod R square. Now vector means it has both magnitude, we got the magnitude, and even direction. Now for the direction, what do we do is, how to find a direction of a, how to find the direction? You have to take unit vector. You have to take unit vector. So what is the unit vector? Suppose A cap equal to A bar by mod A. This is the general form of a unit vector. Similarly here you have to find the unit vector. So what will it become? R. So we are taking for F12. So here it will be for R12 and cap for the whole thing. We are considering force on 1 by 2, right? Force on 1 by 2. So that is why we are taking the distance as R1 minus R2 and cap. Both are same. Clear? Here we have taken A, but here we have considered the actual distance. Now what will it become? Equal to K into Q1 Q2 by mod R square. Now open this. What will this become? According to this, R1 minus R2 bar by mod R1 minus R2. Clear? A bar by mod A. R1 minus R2 by mod R1 minus R2. Now what can I write this mod R1 minus R2? Can I write mod R? Can I write mod R1 minus R2, mod R1 minus R2 equal to mod R? Can I write from here, from this step? Mod R is this and this both. So can I write? So what if you write, what will you get is space. Okay, I am going to erase this. Now what are you going to get? F12 equal to K Q1 Q2 by mod R square into R1 bar minus R2 bar by mod R. So what is final equation? F12 equal to K Q1 Q2 by mod R cube into R1 minus R2 bar. This is your final equation in vector form. Clear? Fine. Note this down. And similarly, if you want for F21, what will you do? Instead of 1 2, you are going to take 2 1. Instead of 1 2, you are going to take 2 1. So what is your final equation? K Q1 Q2 by mod R cube into R2 bar minus R1 bar. This is your equation for F21. Similar method you have to solve, then you are going to get this equation, right? Okay. Clear? Understood? Note it down. Okay. Next we'll see next we are going to compare. I think in your 11th class you have gone through gravitation chapter, right? So gravitation, what do you gravitational force, what is the formula? G m1 m2 by r square, right? This was the thing you have learnt in your gravitation chapter. And what is electrostatic force you have learnt? K q1 q2 by r square, right? Now what is the similarity between both of them? Similarity. Similarity, first one is both have inverse square law. Inverse square law. Both of them have inverse square law. And the second point is both have distance from the line joining center, or you can also tell that force will be acting in the direction of line joining center. Both of them are, here you have called force, but here you have called distance. Both are fine. Okay. Now, what is the difference here? What is the differences between both of them? Major difference is this G and K. Difference is for G and K, here different medium, but here same medium, right? Different medium and same medium. And next one, value of G is, what is the value of G in your 11th class? 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11. What are the units? Newton meter square by kg square, right? Now what is the unit here? K is equal to, what is the value? 9 into 10 power 9 Newton meter by Coulomb square. So this is the major difference. Here different medium K, the value of K here is for vacuum. Here for any medium, this is the value of G. Clear? Understood? Okay, fine. Now let us solve a sum on this. Note it down. Let us solve a sum on this. Find the ratio of Fe to Fg for 2 electrons placed at, this is problem number 1, placed at some distance apart. Here option A is 10 power 10, option B is 10 power 20, option C is 10 power 30, option D is 10 power 40. The answer may be coming as approximate value, so we can choose any of the options. For this, you have to know what is the charge of electron. First, charge of electron Q is equal to, previous class we have seen, what is the value? 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 Coulomb. This is the value of Q. And why are we taking all this? Because our Fe, what is Fe? K Q1 Q2 by R square. And what is Fg? G M1 M2 by R square. So that is why we need Q and we need G. So K, what is K? 9 into 10 power 9 Newton meter square by Coulomb square. And what is capital G? Capital G is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square by kg square. And we also need mass of electron. We are talking about what? Electron. So what is the mass of electron? Mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. This is the mass of electron. So these are the values you require and you have to remember for sure to solve this problem, right? Okay. Now what he did, now go into the question. Find the ratio of Fe to Fg. So you have to find the ratio. So ratio Fe by Fg equal to, here what you can see, r square and r square are cancelled. So what is left? And he's talking about 2 electrons. So charge is same. So can I write kq square by g m square, right? Kq square. So this charge of this electron is same and charge of this electron is same. So I am writing, instead of q1 q2 I am writing q square, because both are same. And g, mass of electron is same for this and mass of electron is also same for that. So I am writing m square. Clear? So now substitute the values. Substitute the given values which all are there in here. After you, I hope you are good at maths and you have to be quick in calculations. Then only you can solve any NEET question or your board exam question. So you have all the values, substitute and calculate. So you will be getting approximately around 10 power 42. This is the approximate answer after you substitute the given numericals here, and you will get around 10 power 42. So our option is D, approximate. So 10 power 40, the nearest value is 10 power 40. Clear? Understood? Okay, fine. Note it down. Okay. Next one. Next, problem number 2. This is little bit difficult. So, first of all, understand the question and try to see what is given and what is asked. First, that you have to know. Okay. A charge, problem 2, a charge Q is divided in two parts such that these two parts are kept at same separation. The electrostatic force between them is maximum. Electrostatic force is maximum. Find the charge on each part. Find the charge on each part. Pause it and note down the question. Okay, fine. Now, understand what is given. A charge Q is divided into two parts. Two parts means we don't know it is each part. Two parts doesn't mean they are exactly divided into two, half and half. They can also be 0.75 and 0.25 or 0.33 and other 0.66 also they can be. Anyhow they can be. So, two parts such that two parts are kept at same separation. The distance is same. Distance is same separation means distance is constant. Okay, fine. Now, the electrostatic force between them is maximum. What is telling? the electrostatic force is maximum. Okay. Find the charge on each part. He is asking what is the charge of each part. So you have two charges. He is asking what is the charge on this and what is the charge on this. Now how to solve this? Think for a second. Now let us see. Suppose this charge here is x. Okay, fine. One charge is x. Other charge is q minus x. Why did I write q minus x? Because the total charge is q. He told q is divided into two parts. So first part I have taken as x. The remaining part total is q. So one part is x, other part is q minus x. Understood? So if you add both of them, x plus q minus x, you will be directly getting q again. So that is why I have taken x and another is q minus x. So the distance between them is r. Now what is the force? Fe is equal to k q1. What is q1? We know the formula q1 q2 by r square. Now here what is our electrostatic? Fe is equal to k q1 x into q minus x by r square. Now open it. Fe is equal to kx q minus kx square by r square. Kx square by r square. Now from this what can we tell? We can tell that k is constant. K we have only a single value, 9 into 10 power 9, and q is also constant because only one charge is there. Q is also a constant. The only variable here is x. Even distance is also constant, right? So only variable here is x. Now how to solve this means, for suppose let us go into our differentiation. Why we are going into differentiation, I'll tell you. Suppose if y is related to x, some variable y is related to x is first point, and then if y is maximum at x, then what do? We directly do dy by dx equal to 0. I think you know this by differentiation, maxima and minima. If first y is related to x and next point, write these points down, because after when you revise you'll know how did this come. So first point is y is related to x, and the next point is y is maximum at x. So what is the equation? Dy by dx is equal to 0. Now here your y is Fe and your x is x. So how to solve this? Let us see. So if I write dFe by dx, what do we get? We are differentiating with respect to x. I'll write it here. Differentiating with respect to x. This you should keep in mind. So kq is constant. I already told you. So kq will come outside. With respect to x, differentiation of x is 1 by r square. I am just dividing this r square. Okay, right? Minus kx square. What is the differentiation of k is constant again? What is the differentiation of x? 2kx by r square. And this whole thing is equal to what? Equal to 0. Clear? Now what do you get? kq by r square minus 2kx by r square equal to 0. right? Okay. Now send that r square over there. Just a second. Now, just a second. Let me erase this. Now, what did we get? KQ by r square. Let us do a thing. Minus 2kx equals to 0. I have sent this r square to the RHS. So, r square into 0, 0. So, KQ is equal to 2kx. KK cancel. So, Q is equal to 2x. So, what do we want? We want x equal to Q by 2. This is your final answer. X equal to 2Q by 2. So, first what did we take? Our first charge is x and the next charge is Q minus x. This is what we have considered in the starting. So, x, what is x? The charge of first one is Q by 2. The charge of second one is Q minus Q by 2. Finally, what do we get? Q by 2. So, each charge, the value of each charge is Q by 2 and Q by 2. So, this is your solution. Note it down. Fine. Next topic is limitations. What are the limitations of Coulomb's law? Limitations. As everything have advantages and disadvantages, this thing is also having some disadvantage. What is that disadvantage? We are going to see. First thing is, if both charges are in motion, this law is not applicable. If both charges are moving, this law is not applicable. This is one of the disadvantage of Coulomb's law. But if one charge is stationary and the second charge is moving, then it is applicable. Then it is applicable. Clear? If both are moving, this law is not valid. If one charge is stationary and one is moving towards or far, it is applicable. Clear? Note this point. Okay. Next. The next topic is principle of superposition. Principle of superposition. Now, what is this principle of superposition? Before going into the definition, let me tell you with an example. You will clearly understand the definition afterwards. Okay, fine. Suppose consider three charges. Consider three charges. First, in case 1, a charge Q1 is there and a charge Q2 is there. Charge Q1 is there and charge Q2 is there. Okay. Now what is this? Now what is the force on 1 by 2? What is the force? It is equal to negative of force to 1. This we have seen in the first definition, it's first part itself. Force on 1 by 2 is equal to force on 2 by 1, but opposite in direction. Clear? Understood? Now, let us consider case 2. Case 2, now we will take 3 charges, Q1, Q2 and Q3. Q1, Q2 and Q3. Now here we had 2 charges. Now here we have 3 charges. Now force on 1. Force on 1 is equal to force on 2 by 1 plus force on force on 2 now here force on 1, so force on 1 by 2 plus force on 1 by 3. So what here we can notice, if an additional charge, the initial force will not change. Okay, here what did we do? F12 is equal to F21, so this is the force between both of them. So here we have got a new charge. So what happened? Force on 1, so on 1 2 is also applying force and plus 3 is also applying on 1. Clear? On Q1 2 is also applying force plus 3 is also applying force on 1. So here you can also call F net, because you have 2 forces. So one charge 2 is also applying force on 1 and even charge 3 is also applying force on 1. So clear? F net is equal to F12 plus F13. Now suppose you have n charges. Suppose you have n charges, what will happen? Suppose you have charges Q1, Q2, Q3, so on up to Qn in Qn, right? So you have n charges. So the force is F net on n. F net on nth charge. F net on nth charge is F bar n1, means force on n by first charge. Force on n by first charge plus force on n by second charge plus force on n by third charge, so on up to force on n by n minus 1 charge. Clear? Force on nth charge. On this charge Q1 is applying force, so force on n by 1. Next again on nth charge plus force on 2 by n. Sorry, force on n by 2. Right? Next for third charge, force on n by 3. Clear? So similarly force on n by n minus 1. Clear? Now note down the definition. The exact definition is, in a system of n charges, the net force on any one charge is the vector sum of force due to the remaining charges. So what is given? In a system of n charges, the net force on any one charge, is the vector sum of force due to the remaining charges. Vector sum of force due to the remaining charges. Clear? Okay. Now, in our next class, we are going to do some problems on this principle of superposition. So, if you have any doubts, put it in the comment section. Okay, thank you.